My colleague, in fact, from India Today Global is with us for the very latest on that. Shashank, once again, for our viewers, pictures are from the Delhi airport where the US Vice President is landing. In fact, his plane has landed at this point in time with his entire family. But on top of the agenda, and why this makes this visit so high stakes is because of India and US's concerns around trade imbalances, trade tariffs, and this certainly is going to be on top of the list, isn't it, when it comes to the agenda?
Well, absolutely. I think it's important at the outset to say that JD Vance right now does not have any direct jurisdiction on issues related to trade and tariffs. Right now, the sense is that the Commerce Secretary and Treasury Secretary are running point on that. Regardless, JD Vance is a very important advisor to Donald Trump. Over the last couple of months, we've seen him really grow in stature as he has taken on more responsibility for the Trump administration, particularly on sensitive matters of foreign policy, including, of course, his visit to Greenland. He went to Europe to deliver a very harsh message on the Ukraine war. According to reports that we're seeing in the American media, he will probably be part of a task force that will deal with tariffs on China and the ongoing trade war. So again, this is someone who has acquired more and more responsibility as the Trump administration has progressed and is entering its fourth month. So we know that this is someone who's highly influential and has the ear of President Donald Trump. And that's something that's very important to India because having someone who can influence Donald Trump and advise him in a very key way in ways that are sensitive to India's concerns is extremely important from the Indian perspective. So India will be looking to develop that professional and political relationship. But also going forward, look, we are in 2025 within possibly a year or two. You are probably going to see the next cycle of presidential elections kick off for the 2028 election. And by most accounts, JD Vance is at this point in time the front runner to be the next Republican nominee for the presidency. So within 4 years, we could be seeing again a JD Vance presidency. It is, of course, too early to say, but nevertheless, he is one of the frontrunners at this point in time. So getting ahead of that, establishing that personal relationship with this politician early on is going to be important because down the line, you want someone like JD Vance to be sensitive to Indian concerns, have experienced India, to have met the top Indian leadership, so that as and when the Trump administration progresses and as his own candidacy progresses, you will likely see a much closer relationship between India and the United States because of that personal relationship that forms the foundation for this partnership.
That's right. But Shashank, talk to us a little about how India would want this, and so would the US want this to be a bit of a win-win situation, isn't it? So tell us, in this context, what kind of leverage do you see India having as far as trade discussions and tariff discussions are concerned?
Well, I think India is going to obviously say that it has a very strong domestic market that the United States wants to access. Both sides have already said that they want to double bilateral trade to the level of around $500 billion. It's a strong incentive for US companies who want to come in, invest in India, access the domestic market. That, of course, is going to be important for them, especially at a time when the United States and China are fighting a trade war. You're increasingly seeing that a number of companies, American companies especially, want to do business elsewhere. They're finding it difficult to continue in China, and of course, are looking for new avenues. India can be that haven for them as well. So India is not coming, of course, without its cards in the relationship. India, of course, also knows that it has a position in America's regional strategy when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, when it comes to handling China. That is something that America, particularly under the previous administration of Joe Biden, was very, very keen on pushing. So again, India knows that it has some leverage, certainly. But again, with the Trump administration, there are, of course, always negotiating difficulties. This is, in many cases, this is absolutely a red line for the Trump administration. That is tariffs and trade is something that is a top political priority for them. India understands that, and despite having, of course, some leverage, it has chosen to follow a non-confrontational path. It's not said very much about reciprocal tariffs. It's decided to follow the path of negotiations. We've seen senior officials speak fairly positively of those negotiations between India and the United States. So at this point in time, it seems that talks are progressing, and by September, the expectation is that we should have a trade deal. So India, of course, is signaling to the United States that it's it doesn't want to this has to escalate into a big fight. It wants to have a deal, but it has to be a win-win deal that works for both sides, precisely because it understands that this is an absolute red line issue for the Trump administration.
Also, Shashank, of course, this is going to be an important discussion given how US is also India's largest trading partner, with the bilateral trade also increasing over the last few years or so. But like we've been talking about, this isn't just about work. This isn't about just diplomacy or strategic ties. This also is a very personal visit for the U.S. Vice President. A lot of things that have been lined up for J.D. Vance as far as his personal visit here is concerned, a trip to India. Take us to what is expected in the next few days.
Well, absolutely. So today, JD Vance is really expected to visit the Akshardham Temple here in Noida. He's also expected to then move off and go to a shopping center where he's expected to shop for traditional Indian handicrafts. Around 6:30 p.m. Then he's expected to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's expected to be a very key and very important meeting. After which the Prime Minister will host a dinner for him, where you will, of course, see very key ministers and other political personalities come to meet Vice President J.D. Vance. That's the schedule for today. Tomorrow, of course, he heads off to Jaipur again. Will indulge in the cultural sites of Jaipur. He's also, of course, going to give a major speech tomorrow afternoon on the state of the India-US relationship. That's a speech you're going to have to watch out for, because within that speech you will probably see the message that the Trump administration wants to send India. That's happening tomorrow afternoon in Jaipur. He, of course, also then the day after goes to Agra, where he will, of course, see the Taj Mahal. He will also inaugurate an open air market featuring traditional Indian goods and cultural wares. That is the 3 day visit. And of course, on the 24th, he heads back. So again, a packed visit, but definitely a visit that focuses very much on the cultural side of India-US relations, and of course, because the three Vance children are, of course, accompanying their parents to this major visit, and of course, the idea is that they would like to introduce their children to Indian culture, to the culture of Usha Vance, their mother, and of course, that is going to be a key focus of this visit.
Well, absolutely.